Now when we're trying to build our project, we're supposed to enjoy building it. Now one of the tedious jobs which everyone seems to hate is removing the paint. We can do it externally with sandblasting materials, etc. But what about inside the door jams if we don't want to get them sandblasted? I want to show you a better and easier way that you can do this at home. So I'm Dave Ailey, this is Macy, and welcome to dreaminghotrods.com, and I'll share some methods to do that.
Now here's the two discs I want to share with you on this demonstration. The one's on the very far left. This is a used, what we call a strip it disc. I've had it for a while, so you do get plenty of use out of them. And this is a new one I've purchased to show this demonstration. It's got the square edge. So having a flat surface on it, it will remove the greater volume of paint compared to the used one. But they're not made out of steel. I'm not sure the material they're made out of, so they're pretty good. They've got a bit of flex in them. They don't shed as much sparks out as what any sand discs will. But this is the steel wire wheel. I actually purchased this strictly to get in the roof guttering, the channels, and in the grooves or corners and joins on the doors. You do need to wear safety glasses with all of these, in particular this one. And the last on the list is the dinky dye sanding disc, something that we're used to, and everyone seems to use it, but these do wear out. You always seem to be replacing them. Here I'm going to show you the sanding disc itself first up, just doing the insides of these doors. So I'll be removing all the paint on these, but I'm going to give you a demonstration. This is actually about a 40 grade sanding grit on this paper. So you can see the texture it's going to leave. I believe it's a bit coarse, but if you start going any finer on a sanding disc, you'll wear it out a lot quicker. You can see the texture it's left. Now any high fill primers or 2-pack primers, they will fill those up. But with a sanding disc, you can see on the edge they cut in. Here's the new strip it disc. I think they remove the paint quicker. You can probably compare the difference in the speed. So overall, doing the door jams, this is my preference. It leaves a smoother finish as well. Less sparks. You can see the comparison of the grain. You can see there on that corner edge where it actually cut in a bit deeper on the corner. The strip it disc won't do that. From the blue line is the new version of the strip it disc, and you can just see the smoother finish. This is the old strip it disc. Now again, the texture's identical to the new one. The only difference is it's probably a tad slower because it's worn down, and you're now only getting a fine point of the wheel because it's now got an actual radius on the disc. On the surface of the disc is what I'm talking about here. So a new disc is great for on a flat surface. This would be great for any curved areas like that. But as I said, the finish between that and the new, they're the same type of finish. Nice and smooth. That's your comparison of the three. Now if you're doing a nice show car and that, obviously we want to try and avoid any deep scratches from sanding discs, so the smoother we can the better. But the strip it disc will leave a good finish for paint adhesion anyway.
Now after using the sandpaper and the actual strip discs, the blue ones, I'm going to now use the wire disc and just show you the difference. But first of all, I'm going to show it on a flat version. So I didn't actually buy this for that. I only used this to get in the grooves of my roof channels, etc. So that's what I wanted this for. But I'll show you the difference and the texture it'll leave on your panels with this.
Now again with this, make sure we do actually use our eye protection, particularly this one. If you have a look at this closely, you'll notice it's not giving a shine. And what it's tending to do is more so polish the surface. It's still removing the paint, but it's not really cutting in, so I would prefer not to use this on flat surfaces. This is my opinion. It seems to be difficult, or have difficulties, removing all the paint. Like, it seems to polish it into the metal, so any scratches, it's pushing the paint into them. You can see some cloudy effects there. That's what I'm talking about. Strip it disc, again, I think it is the best overall. It removes everything. So you can see the comparison on all 4 versions there. A bit too grainy with the sandpaper, but there's a good version of the second, or the used strip it disc. And now we can get back to the actual wire wheel. So I'm going to show you further down other sections.
Showing you these 4 examples along this edge along here, it depends on the grades of sandpaper you use, but one thing you've got to look at, the sandpaper will wear down, the blue strip discs will wear down, but the wire wheels will actually last the longest. But what I really wanted to share with you is how to get in these crevices here and the corners. Sanding paper won't get right into them, right? You'll wear them out really quickly, right? The blue discs will get into them, but once you've worn them down a touch, you're going to find you're going to have trouble getting in. You'll end up leaving about a half-inch strip along here. So it's the wire wheel is going to win in these corners, and I'll give you an example on those as well now.
First up, we've got the sanding disc itself. Now you can see how I've got to put it on an edge to get right into the corner. So if I'm to put right in the 90-degree corner itself, you can see it's going to wear the edge of the disc off, and you're really only going to be burning the paint. So it's not a great one to get right into the corners, unless you want to be changing the discs all the time. You can see a brown strip down there is what I'm talking about. That's actually the disc itself has been rubbing on it. Here's the new version of the strip it disc. You can see how it does remove the paint quicker. So if you're talking of doing 4 doors, you've got to think of your time. The new version will get into the corner, so it doesn't do a bad job of it. It's pretty good. Right into that corner itself. Here's the old version of the strip it disc. Again, does the same sort of job, but this is where it has trouble. You can see I'm putting the angle grinder right on the angle to try and get into the corners, but it still doesn't do it successfully. When you've got rust in the corners as well, you do want to get it all out. So some people might think, oh, it doesn't matter, I'll leave some in there, but when there's rust there, no, you do want to get it all out. Now this is where I had difficulties getting in there. The next one will be the wire wheel, and you can see where that can win in this situation. Doesn't on the flat surface though. You'll notice on some of those spot welds there, it'll leave actually some paint residue in there. So again, it's really only doing the polishing job, but because the wheel is actually hitting it on its flat surface, not on the actual edge, what it's meant to do. This is where it'll win on the gutters and channelings, roof gutters. See some paint there in the spot weld, so the strip it disc will get those out. That's giving you a comparison. You can still see some paint left in those corners. There's a brown strip down there. Coming down, now we're getting down to the used strip it disc. You can see where it was a challenge to get in to that join or the corner itself. And here's the wire wheel. It's totally removed the lot. Again, you can see it's excellent. Got all the paint out in that actual corner. I think they're the best overall for the corners.
Now to conclude with this video, I've had the first-hand view of all 3. My preference is the blue strip disc. I think it's the best overall. But I do need to get into the corners, so the wire wheel is something I need to add to my toolbox. To be quite frank, I think you need all 3 in your toolbox, right? You're not going to use them at all the time. The wire wheel will last the longest. These are great. They will last longer than your sanding disc, right? You'll notice this used version didn't quite get into the corners. It showed another, it left about 1/4 inch of the actual paint there, where this did the job fine, right? I don't believe these are very good in a flat surface, but corners, fantastic. Now, if you're interested, I am putting a book together on the various ways that we can remove rust from your car panels. There's your sandblasting, the bead blasting, the media blasting, right? The dipping. So many people get confused, what's their best method to do it in? So I'm writing this book to give you the best ways. Drop a comment on the video, share us your interest, and we'll get this book finished as ASP. Thanks for watching, and I do hope this has helped with your project.